Welcome to the spot. It's time to ignite. Oh yeah. Operation Hangout. The feeling's just right. Chilling with the crew. We're ready to groove. Opinions flying high. Come on, let's move. Hang out all night long, all night. Laughing and debating, playing our song. Oh yeah. Share your thoughts, don't be shy. Don't be shy. Operation Hangout, let's reach for the sky. Let's fly. Pull up a chair, let's get in the zone. Voices blending smooth like a funky trombone. Oh yeah. Topics from the heart, making us think. With a twist and a shout, raise up your drink. Cheers! Hang out all night long, all night. Laughing and debating, playing our song. Oh yeah. Share your thoughts, don't be shy. Don't be shy. Operation Hangout, let's reach for the sky. Let's fly. Bring it down, shake it up, feel the beat. With every word we share, the circle's complete. Living loud, think it proud, that's what we do. Oh yeah. Join the club, come on through, we're waiting for you. Alright. Hang out, all night long, all night. Laughing and debating, playing our song. Oh yeah. Share your thoughts, don't be shy. Don't be shy. Operation Hangout, let's reach for the sky. Let's fly. Hang out.
What is going on, everybody? We're back at it with another episode, with another stream. Of course, you know where you're at. You are at the only place for the greatest show on a Saturday night, Spartan HQ Network. I am your host, Ghost of Sparta. Of course, this is the Operation Hangout. I can't do this by myself. It's called a Hangout for a reason. Let's get this guy in here. He is my man, the most incredible person in the world. He is Groot, Black David. What's going on, brother?
I'm good. I'm good. I'm noticing some weird connectivity issue on my end. I'm just trying to figure out why that's happening. I'm quoting whatever window it may be caught in that, but it's not adding up. So I should be
For
fine,
right at the
hopefully.
moment, you're fine. You at this moment, you're completely fine, dude. So I wouldn't really worry about it right now. So, Star Wars, one of my favorite subjects, of course. I have a Star Wars tattoo. I have two lightsabers. It's one of my favorite subjects. We're gonna be going over Order 66, the escape of the Force, the survival. They made a game about this. I don't know if you played it, David. David.
I never played a Star Wars game. I've been. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
I've never been a fan of the game at all. I never played it, not once. But the movies and so on the series, I try to catch up after a while because when it left the original director's hand to Disney, I thought to question it. And I have my reason behind it because the guy who created the Star Wars franchise, he built something that will end up becoming an American culture. And it drew in masses. But the moment it switched hands, anyone who grew up from the 80s, I can't even say the 80s, That would have been existing since the 70s. And look at it for what it is right now. Either it lost some old fans, gained some new fans. Yeah, created so many debate about the direction of the franchise. It's something to be looked into. I mean, groups, um, these blogs, these chat rooms, when they come forth about why this happened, why they went from the movie to the end back to the movie. Like there's some gap in their storyline, what's going on. And I listen, I watch. I try to ask the questions: was it worth it? Selling your IP right to another company, because Star Wars is an American culture. For anyone that is, I don't think anybody realize that. You want to talk about America, you talk about Star Wars. You talk about America, you talk about WWE wrestling. You talk about America, you talk about anything that how it became a mainstay in American culture. And Star Wars one of them. But when they signed their intellectual property right over to Disney, I got the question: what direction would they be taking? Would it go along to what the script have been written, or they have their own way? I don't know. That's just my take on that.
It's funny you mentioned this today because we just had this conversation at work today. So my boss, my chef, comes up to me, goes, "What's your show about tonight?" And I explained to him, like, "You know about a lot of Star Wars? Like, I'm pretty knowledgeable." The conversation went to about George Lucas at first. How when he released a property, the original the original script wasn't what we got. People don't know that. So the original script was, and stay with me for a minute, guys, was might not be the Jack title, but pretty much the new Jedi Order. The Jedi people don't forget and mix up. I think it was a society or a political group. No, it was a religion. And keep in mind, the when Lucas got this idea, he took samurai, medieval, and religion. He literally meshed it together, put it in a ball, rubbed it around his hand, and he threw the Jedi's out. That's where they came from. So original Luke had not one but two kids. I think the first one was called Ben Walker, and I can't remember what the second one was called. I'm gonna look it up in a second. And so that was the original script. But when Disney came, goes threw that shit right in the garbage.
And
But
that's my
people would
point. I'll try
know,
to point out.
yeah. But people don't know that Lucas got called back at some point. I can't remember which movie it was. And they had the whole thing, shot. Only thing was edited, but there were all those scenes he worked on, everything he did, he got thrown away, and they did. Well, we fucking got this disaster. Some people like them, some people hate them. I personally am like, they're okay, but no, it doesn't hold up to a Star Wars franchise. What do you think, David?
Here's my thing. Those who grew up knowing the Star Wars franchise from the 70s. Now I'm going to have to research because I don't think people understand this. Because I'm going to bring on my chat GPT, ask them a question, on down, and ownership. That's something I think we need to talk about as well. And knowing this, 1977, that a year before I was born,
Hmm.
the man wrote six novels, was only able to put out the fourth chapter on the film. And for a person who was given a opportunity to put his novel into realization, and it became a major hit. in the late 70s, entering the 80s. If anyone who is a loyal, dedicated fan to George Lucas can tell the difference from what is George Lucas Star Wars compared to Walt Disney Star Wars. Remember what I told you, there was a massive amount of debate going on concerning this issue.
It still goes on debate to this day.
That's why I say it's like a faction now. Those who think with George Lucas didn't like the fact that George Lucas had to sell his IP to Disney. Remember what I told you before, when it comes to Disney and any other product they put their hand on, it don't really go to gold. It loses its value in two levels or more.
Not always, sometimes. They've done some really good stuff too. Let's be honest here.
We can say that, but from those who follow Joe Lucas and they read his book, remember he wrote 6 chapters of this franchise before he put out in a movie.
I
There's
thought it was
something
10.
I don't know if it's 10. All I know it was 6 because then after I went to this 6th chapter, went back to the first. Now, if there was 10, that means I must have missed out on something because I I first would have had to purchase it.
Remember, originally he had episode one, two, three, that the prequels. Then the original ones he did is six, seven, and eight. Right? Wait,
Hmm.
wait, three. I'm sorry, I kind of wrong. Three. You got four, five, and six. Then we got six, seven, and eight. Those were
It's
horrible.
9. It was 9 because I'm
Who's
looking at it
nine?
right now. The original one was from 1977. That was episode 4. Episode 5 came in 1980. Episode 6 came in 1983, right?
Mm-hmm.
Then there's a huge gap from 1983 to 1999. You can imagine that. The first 3 movies of the Star Wars franchise came in between 2 to 3 years different of one another, right? 1977, 1980, and 1983. And the name of Episode 4, The New Hope. Episode 5, The Empire Strikes Back. Everybody remember that one? That's 1980. 1983, The Return of the Jedi. That was Episode 6. And they went all the way from 1989 straight to 1999 to do Episode 1, Phantom Menace. Here's the question: why it took them from 1983 to 1999 to produce a movie? What is the issue behind that? Why it took so long when you had 3 major hits in the box office? You're racking in money. You could have done
So
more than that.
I can answer that question actually. He held off to make episode one, two, and three because the first one he kind of bend his policies, but the second one he said he was not going to make it if Yoda wasn't CGI. He wanted to get him as perfect as possible because of the fighting scene. That's why we held off. But where I had issues was in which episode is it? Let me find it right here really fast. No, okay,
You're looking for episode 1, 2, and 3, which was 1999, 2002, and 2005, which is somewhere like a
okay, The
3 year
Force
difference.
Awakens. That's the one I started having issues with. I'll explain to you why.
The
The
Force Awakens,
Force
that's
Awakens.
2015.
Yes,
That was 2015. Okay.
yes. The reason I had issues with that because JJ, I burnt, but I can't pronounce his fucking name. Bardang, the director. He said he went back and watched the original one, The New Hope, and he took exploration. But if you watch The New Hope and Force Awaken, they're different movies, but they're the same movies. So we got pretty much a reboot of The New Hope, if you really think about it,
Okay, if that's the case, then you're saying he took episodes 4 to reboot and make it episode 7.
pretty much. And seven was supposed to be, from my understanding, the new Jedi Order. We got a little glimpse in that in the next movie. Which one was it?
The Last
Uh,
Jedi,
No, the
2017.
Rise of Skywalker was the next one. No,
No, no, no,
I'm sorry,
no.
you're right. The last Jedi. We got a little glimpse of him in little flashbacks when he was doing it. I
Mhm.
want to apologize for my hair. I need a haircut. My hair is all over the fucking place.
No, don't worry about that because,
Yeah,
like I'm saying, I'm reading the note.
yeah.
The last
So
movie of the franchise was supposed to be episode 9. That's the right on the Skywalker, that's 2019.
yeah, so When they did it, they scrapped everything Lucas gave. He literally gave everything to him. Promised a moneymaker on a silver fucking platter. He goes, here you go. And Disney said, fuck you, pretty much to him. When they brought him back, they thought he was gonna fix it. The lady who was, I can't remember her fucking name, who was running Disney, and I remember her statement. There's not enough material out there on Star Wars to make enough movies.
And that was bullshit.
And I literally fell off my couch when
And
I
that was
heard that.
bullshit. And that was bullshit.
You know how many books there are? Not only from Lucas, from other people who wrote books for Star
Yeah,
Wars.
but the thing is, Star Wars is George Lucas' brainchild.
Oh,
To
absolutely.
say
That's his
no,
little step,
no. Here, here the
bastard's
problem, man.
child.
Here the problem. When you're not the one who created that franchise, and you're not going through all the book that he established, for you to say there wasn't enough material, it's saying that you're shitting on the creator himself.
Hmm.
And when you're shitting on the creator himself, then what's the point on you having the right to the Star Wars franchise when it was iconic without you to begin with? No, no. This is why I like how we are on our Wednesday show. I'm going to dissect this. How would the person who runs Disney, who wants to open her mouth, shit on a franchise that was made supremely iconic during the late 70s, the early 80s, and you were nowhere near that during the time of the production? There could be a lot of reasons why George Lucas felt like he couldn't do another movie right after that, because maybe because of the political nonsense in the production company, because there's always issue when a creator trying to put out a masterpiece and the production company don't have their way or say on how they want it to be, which is kind of disrespectful. And I can see why Tyler Perry created his own movie theater. No question. Rephrase that. Scrap that statement. Why he created his own production company, because he understood how Hollywood like to take someone creations and trying to tell a person, no, it need to be this way when it's not. It's meant to be. There's the reason why the American movie production arena is looking like a piece of shit.
And at one time, American movie theater was the number one, if you remember,
That was back in the 80s,
and 90s.
90 to a certain degree. But you could tell from the 90s they start to go downwards.
So here's with JJ Abram. Can't pronounce his fucking name. Um, he did Star Trek, the reboot of Star Trek, if you remember. He did a great job with the reboot of Star Trek. Let's give him credit when it's due. But I think he was high when he did Star Wars, to be honest with you.
I don't know. I really don't know.
But we're not here to diagnose that. Let's play the first video. We're here to talk about more Order 66. That's what I want to touch base today,
No problem.
because I found it fascinating because they did a game actually on it. If you remember the Star Wars, oh man, I can't remember it. My brain just took a shit on me. I'm sorry, guys. Give me 1 second to find it because it was actually one of the best Star Wars games in my opinion, to date at least. Oh, where is it? No. Ah, okay, here it is. The Fallen Order. And that is and then it was a sequel into the Star Wars Jedi Order. Let's give a big salute to our president. Not sure he's gonna join us tonight. He's a little tired.
Hey guys, before you go further, I was able to do this. The ownership of Star Wars. Here, how many years of Lucasfilm and Joe Lucas owned Star Wars from 1977 to 2012. Disney acquisition came in 2012. up to now, and and guess how much they acquire the Star Wars franchise. Guess how
Was it
much they
like
paid for it?
5.6 million or
Can
some
you
shit like that?
guess?
It was like 5.6 million or something
They
like that.
acquired the Star Wars. No, 4.05 billion dollars. I want to hear it again. Disney acquired Lucasfilm, which owned Star Wars, for $4.05 billion. And the statement that you just made a while ago, for a woman who was not there during 1977 in the production of the Star Wars, how big it is, to say there wasn't enough material for that, then tell me how you pay that much money to acquire Lucasfilm. Paul, you are correct. You could have gotten more. You are this is something I'm trying to make sense of. So if I'm being super critical, then I'm being super critical for a reason. This man created, like I said a while ago, an American culture. This franchise was huge. Disney acquired it around 2012 with game rights for the Star Wars, not only for the Star Wars franchise, mind you, Indiana Jones, and other Lucasfilm properties. So under Disney, the sequel trilogy, the spin-off film was developed along with TV show for Disney Plus. So the other way you're telling me you bought a massive franchise, a production company for $4.05 billion. So Star Wars was a huge juggernaut. After you took over, did you run your mouth saying there's not enough material? So you telling me all his material, all his script, all his roadmap for all his character creation wasn't enough for you? Now you take that same language and say the same shit for Lord of the Rings and see how many people want to bum with your company.
They're fucking go crazy.
Lord of the Rings is as big as Star Wars, maybe bigger. To buy that intellectual property, I wonder how many companies you have to sell to acquire Lord of the Rings franchise. But you took over it and you deviate from the original blueprint. You deviate from original script and did your own book. Let me stop. Let me stop, please. Let me stop. Because that's why I say when I see things don't feel the same way, I stop watching it. Maybe I stopped watching around maybe 2013. I'm not sure because when I heard about their acquisition whatsoever, I was feeling like if not the original person doing it, it don't feel the same. We had the discussion with Batman, remember?
Hmm.
Now we didn't bring it up. How many directors produced all the Batman movies?
Ooh, too many right now.
Okay, when you have too many directors, do they have the same flavor or have different tastes to it?
Oh, different days, of course.
So when you have different taste, one flavor might fit your taste, but the other won't. Is that not correct?
Yeah.
So remember that debate that we had during the Batman show? That's the reason why there was too many different flavor. Like things time by Chinese fried rice, but it done too many different ways. They have a different taste to it. So imagine how Star Wars tasted to the OG fan. I didn't say original. I say OG. And the OG fans see that it changed its flavor, and they're like, "Nah, f that. We don't want this." Yes, you may got some new fan base, but the original fan base is better. than the new ones. Because they're there from day one. So when you talk about these Jedi fans, I hear about all this craziness. I even heard about the wokeism they put in the into the script, which I know for a fact was not in the original script.
Who was it?
Whether the Mandarin, whatever we want to call it, if that was part of Joe Lucas' script, I'm sure they didn't follow through because they didn't have a way of taking something original and put their own spin to it. When you put your own spin to it, you lose the flavor, you lose the taste. The taste becomes stale. You're a chef, are you not?
That I think of. I think I am.
Okay. When you work in a restaurant and you have the original recipe and you recreate it, you get the authentic taste of it. If someone deviates from the original recipe and do something completely different, will the taste stay the same or be completely different?
Oh, it's gonna change, of course.
And it can change either for better or for worse. Is it not so?
Could be better or worse sometimes.
Now, if the flavor is worse and the chef doesn't notice that, can he save that particular food
Oh
or
no.
bury it? Okay, then.
Actually,
Let-
he could save it. He season it up a little different, but it's rare when that happens.
Yeah, but when you put too much bad spicy in it and later on you shit on it, you bring the person who created that original dish and you don't allow him full creative control over it, what thing gonna happen?
He's gonna fucked up.
I rest my case, Your Honor. So that what happened with Star Wars.
I'm not disagreeing on what you're saying, David. So you understand that. I agree with you 100%.
I know I can be ruthless, but I had to be honest. There's so many iconic things from the 80s and the early 90s that I love about American movie production arena back then. It don't taste the same anymore today. It does not. And stop. Let's be real. Star Wars back then was a force to be reckoned with. Because you know what? Who was Star Wars' greatest rival? Star Trek. Star Trek was another original creativity that people were saying, man, Star Trek is nowhere near Star Wars. And you and I in New York City, you know how this battle goes out.
It,
When I
it,
start
they're
when I start
they're
the movie,
different franchises, but they're
hmm
good in their own way.
but let's be real, before 2012, when people are going to watch the next Star Wars movie, how did they come to the movie theater? Were they just regular or they were like, we come to represent?
100%, of course.
Okay, then. There was a rivalry between Star Trek and Star Wars. Star Wars was the juggernaut. It was American culture, fight with another up and coming American culture. 2012, it didn't feel that way afterwards. Yeah, they had some new fans that jump into it, but the original fan was not feeling that way. It's like saying the same bullshit we talk about Dragon Ball Z before Akira Toriyama. Somebody took Akira Toriyama creation and deviate from that and create their own product, and they had the same flavor. The product called GT.
Oh, you gotta bring that shit up.
I had to bring that shit up because it fit the category until the original chef came back to complete control and tried to fix the fuck up that happened, right? And he had a hard time trying to appease his customers, did he not?
Yeah,
So, what do you think was going on with Star Wars? It's not the same shit too.
pretty much.
So, everyone could think I'm ruthless. I'm not being ruthless. I'm just being obvious. It is what it is. Let's stop the bullshit. That was a great franchise to Evan to like to watch, but when they didn't take over it, I'm not gonna go to a restaurant that chain their chef, brought somebody in, they can cook the original ingredient and give it a different taste, and that it throw me off. I'm like, nah, I'm done. Bye. I take my money and go somewhere else. I ain't trying to get diabetes, getting the wrong taste of food in my mouth. So this is why I haven't touched Star Wars since 2012, 2011, 2012. I believe in, yes, the animated series, I was feeling it, but after 20, I just felt like something is off.
Oh, I totally agree with you.
There was 20 projects that supposed to come out, but it didn't come out. Why? I'm like, no, 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 no. I'm done. I hate when people start to do all these switcheroo, and it is would abandon ship for me. So I avoided all the debate about the direction of the Star Wars franchise for years because I've heard it, I've seen it.
David, hang on one second. Let's get this guy in here. Ladies and gentlemen, please rise for our president. Mr. President, how are you doing tonight? Not
First
too
of
tired?
all, first of all, Mr. Laritzis, you are a fountain of misinformation.
Me?
No, Mr. Laritzis over here
I want. Okay, why you say that?
said I didn't come on tonight because I was tired. First of all, I said explicitly I need to get up at 4 a.m. because I have to take my daughter to the airport
I'm just
because
busting your chops, dude. I didn't mean it
she's going down to Grenada. I got to go to David. I got to go to JFK.
Oh,
I thought that was today.
No, however you want to slice it, it's going to be in about 6 hours. I got to be on the road. So
Oh, I'm sorry, Paul. I thought
So-
I didn't know it was Sunday. I thought it was Saturday. You were doing it this
so you are
morning.
a fountain of misinformation once again.
Oh,
and
you know what?
spreading
Wait,
rumors.
I'll give myself the button myself.
You've reached your limit on talking. Shut the fuck up.
This one is
So-
going on me. My bad. I apologize.
So let the record straight. Now again, I don't literally, guys, because I still have to. I got to get a meal in. I'm actually preparing a lesson for tomorrow, so I got a lot of things going on. So I literally got about 15 minutes, and then I got to drop.
no problem.
Really
but,
fast. Give us your thoughts about this.
About what? In particular?
The franchise and Order 66.
You got to be a bit more specific.
Okay, open with how would you feel about Star Wars was from George Lucas had it into
Oh well, come on. I mean, it's it's
And touch base on
iconic.
some-
I mean, it is iconic, but it's interesting now because honestly, these days I don't have a lot of sympathy for Star Wars fans at this point. Everything that you guys are lamenting about the state of the Star Wars franchise, I put that mostly at the feet of Star Wars fans. You literally drove the man out of the business. Like I said, he could have got more than $4 billion. But he got to the point where, look, why should I go through the hassle of trying to do a third trilogy when I got so much flack over the last one? See, that's the thing. That's why history is the greatest teacher. And history ultimately makes us look a lot better than we were when we were in the present. So again, that's why a lot of people say don't even judge people until you let it maybe 20 years go by before you start judging that. Now everyone is idolizing George Lucas, but I was there from '77. All right, when the original came out, I was there. I was there with the second trilogy, as most of you guys were, and people just have short memories. They killed George Lucas when he came out with the special edition in the 90s. They killed them there. Oh, hand shot first. Oh, this is terrible. I can't believe he did that. Then again the Phantom Menace. Oh, basically you got a kid whose life has been basically ruined by all the flack that he got. Him and Ahmad Best playing Jar Jar Binks, how these guys had promising careers and they came in with such an optimism and so excited to be in Star Wars. And one guy's had problems. He's had legal problems, Jake Lloyd, for his whole life. And Ahmad Best is like, except maybe at Star Wars cons or whatever. I mean, his career got jacked up as well. So everybody, all these guys talking about, oh, George and how good he was or whatever, they were hating on George. The only time he got maybe a little bit of credit is with correct, yeah. So they only got a little bit of credit is with, again, Revenge of the Sith. And so he so he got a little bit of credit for that. But again, people forget all the flack that he took in trying to tell the stories that he wants to create. So I find it interesting that people are criticizing, I guess, these new Star Wars stories that are created. We should go back to George's, where George tried to tell his stories and he got criticized for telling his own stories. Or if you wanted to go back and make a revision to a story that he told, because it is his story, he got flack for that. So at the end, 2012, yeah, it's like, okay, it's been 7 years since I've done another trilogy. I don't know if I want to put myself in that. I'm going to be 70-something years old. I don't know if I want to put myself in that cauldron again and have these Star Wars fans who think somehow they own the franchise. I think a lot of these guys, I think a lot of it's there. So again, I put a lot of the current state of the Star Wars universe, I put heavily on Star Wars fans. So again, I don't have a lot of sympathy in this time. But again, as I've said with comic books, as I've said with movies, authors, creators, they have the right to tell the story that they want to create, not the story that you think that should have been told. It's not your story, it's theirs. So you really need to again, allow their story to go on their own. Now you can, with your friends or whatever, you can talk about how you would have done it, but it's ultimately his. So that's kind of like my overall view on the franchise as a whole. But again, the whole idea of, again, the Jedi, the Order 66, again, that's all George. He got the inspiration for the Jedi from those Japanese films, samurai films and whatnot, and he created an honorable order that came from that. I mean, again, the lightsaber is essentially the sword that those soldiers used. So again, it's very much a throwback. It's basically mystic storytelling in a sort of a techie kind of sci-fi type of world. But as Eric said earlier, it's much more like fantasy than it is science fiction. And especially when you talk about the Force and everything that's involved there, it is definitely a sort of a retale of that, but in a fashion that people can certainly understand. So that's ultimately what it is. Any other question you want to ask me regarding the Jedi, especially Order 66 in general?
Yeah, you want to go over how
yeah,
do you feel about Order 66 and the Jedi's who survived?
Well, again, it had to happen. I mean, obviously, Episode 4 wouldn't make sense without it. And so again, going back and telling the backstory in terms of how we got to the state of affairs in Episode 4 was where it was essentially, at first you only thought that Obi-Wan was the only one left, and then you found out that in Empire Strikes Back that Yoda was left, and then them telling the stories in the interim with the Jedi that Darth Vader at this time was essentially hunting down. So yeah, I mean, it definitely created an atmosphere that led to Episode 4, which was the first Star Wars in 1977. So again, it was a dark time, but everything was supposed to have an arc. Now again, 7, 8, and 9 should have dealt with, again, the rebuilding under Luke Skywalker of the Jedi Order. That was supposed to be the turnaround. It's like with all these stories, it has a start, it has a low point, like Empire Strikes Back. The second movie's always bad, and then the rise and the victory that comes after that. So again, I had no problem with 66. I thought that it was, obviously it was a very emotional part of the film. I thought it was executed, no pun intended. I think, beautifully. And yeah, I mean, it was definitely a pointed time in the Star Wars timeline, an important one, but you had to, it had to be done. And again, I thought the way it was executed in the film, it definitely, it was very much high drama, and seeing Anakin's turn, where again he even goes in and he kind of slaughters the younglings. I mean, that's that's really and fortunately, obviously they weren't going to show that graphically in the film, but it definitely gave you a sense of how far it got. And it led ultimately to the battles at the end, Yoda versus Sidious, and Obi-Wan versus Anakin, which is to this day the greatest saber duel of all time, at least in the movie history. And it's interesting because you haven't seen anything like it since. I mean, the sequels that came out of it, I mean, the sword fighting is not that much different than it was in episodes 4 and 5. So again, we still haven't gotten back to that glory, that return, that true Jedi art that was developed. And again, credit to George, because he allowed that. I don't think he had all of the nuances of the Jedi fleshed out by that time, but he allowed it to be developed. So you got the fighting forms. I mean, again, that was basically under George Lucas. All right, the Jedi fighting forms, the explaining of the Force, all those things was all on. So again, credit to George, because again, when he was running things, he allowed people to expand the universe. I think Eric made mention of that, not only just in the novels, but in the gaming community, in the video game community. He was, it was like he gave a lot of freedom to people to tell the stories that need to be told. Even after Revenge of the Sith, he that book that came out, to me, one of my favorite Star Wars books, again, the Rise of Darth Vader. Excellent book. Talked about that period between episode 3 and 4, the hunting of the Jedi over that time, explaining Darth Vader's mindset and whatnot. That was all under George's supervision. And now people complain because, again, how much of that is Disney allowing people to take the universe even further? So again, George was able to give a lot of freedom, but yet kept a continuity that people embraced and understood. But that being said, still, people did not appreciate him when he, everything that he did to create the universe that he did, and it was brutal. And so, like I said, I think for a lot of people, even the last of the prequel trilogy, it was mixed reviews overall. They didn't like. It's funny. All these people love hate now. Certainly with the Obi-Wan series that was out and whatnot, everyone loves Hayden Christensen. Oh yeah, Hayden Christensen. My man got mad flack from his debut in Attack of the Clones. Man, I mean, they weren't loving it. It's like, oh, he's stale. He's stiff. He doesn't seem natural. He's just all these things. Just the criticism that he was under. But now everybody loves him. Oh yeah, Hayden. So again, be careful. With you guys constantly with your criticisms. Be careful what you wish for, because I know George. I know the song that's on his playlist, number one song on his playlist, is that you're gonna miss me when I'm gone. And nothing has ever been truer ever since. And he certainly, and the last film was such a disaster that they even tried to get George in as a consultant, because it was such a disjointed piece. And I do blame J.J. Abrams for that. And for me, and from my point of view, J.J. Abrams only had one successful movie. And that was the first Star Trek movie. So again, I put it in the comments earlier. The first Star Trek movie from 2009, the Kelvin Universe, that was excellent. Then they made us wait 5 years for the second film. Hush Hush and everything. And all it was a remake of The Wrath of Khan. And they cast a guy named Khan Noonien Singh. As much as Cumberbatch is a great actor, still, you picked the whitest guy in the world to play a guy who was intended to be from the southeast of Asia. So go figure that. So we waited all that time with all that hype for a remake of Wrath of Khan, and then the films that came after that, Star Trek Beyond and whatnot, meh. Not good offerings. But the first film, I thought he landed the plane. I thought that was nicely done, and made us very optimistic about the things that came after it. But unfortunately, it didn't land there either. So I'm not the biggest fan of J.J. Abrams. And as far as what Peter was saying earlier about Kennedy at Lucasfilm and whatnot, look, she was with George she was at Lucasfilm for years, and he basically put the sale of the transition of the franchise in her hands. Yes, she botched it, but again, I just think that the way the circumstances in which the sale went on was not a good one. And again, even George admitted himself, saying he basically sold himself. He sold his properties to the evil empire. Essentially, is fun. He kind of jokingly but seriously called Disney the evil, but he kind of sold that. He regretted the sale. He kind of said that in an interview on Charlie Rose. And it's unfortunate, but I think everybody's got a role in this. But I put at fault, the biggest fault was the fans, who basically drove him out of business. So that's all I got on that.
I totally agree 100%, Paul. I'm not disagreeing on none of what you're saying. Hang on, David, you go next. Because you're right. You hit everything on the nail. People pushed him out because they were never happy. But guess what? It was so good. But I thought George Lucas did come back at one point, if I'm not mistaken, conservative, and they
again for because the last film was again, it was, they were mired in rights and rewrites. There was a lot of stuff that was left on the cutting room floor. They weren't sure they were going to make their date on time. It was just a disaster. And so in an act of desperation, they decided to try to bring George back in as a quote unquote consultant to kind of fix the mess that we've essentially made. So that was on the last film. He wasn't on the first two films. And I think it was very obvious from the start that this was almost like it didn't feel like a Star Wars film. It just did. From the 20th Century Fox opening. Eric knows I'm a big movie studio opening type of guy. Like, so when you see Marvel Studios thing or United Artists or whatever, it's like when you went to a Star Wars film for 20 something years, almost 30 years, the pop was the same. You heard that 20th Century Fox opening. Brum, 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 brum. The crowd went nuts. And then you saw A Long Time Ago in the Galaxy Far, Far Away. And then bam.
Freaked the shit out when that happened.
Exactly. But when the first sequel movie came out, it just says, okay, bad robot. Boom. It was like, so from the start, it didn't feel like a Star Wars film. Because it's almost like that film, that opening was as much tied to the film as it was the film itself. Mm-hmm. So again, the fact that 20th Century Fox wasn't involved was something that was. But even then, and again, what we're talking about here also with Disney is not new. It was one man saved Star Wars. One. His name was Alan Ladd. He was an executive at 20th Century Fox. He's the only one who believed in the movie because he worked with George on American Graffiti. So he knew how creative George was. And Fox, they were just like Disney. They didn't know what Star Wars was or be, because no one done anything like that before. Again, studio mindset is always going to be different from that of the creative mindset. And people also forget what George had to go through in order to get Star Wars made. He got very little money from the studios. He only got $10 million to make the movie. And he struck a deal. He said, okay, fine. Give me the $10 million to make this film. But I want rights on merch. So we talk about people. George Lucas was one of the first people who really understood merch. And so he said, look, give me all of that. Give me the 10 million. I'll try to get it. Barely got made. But again, he had to do that in order to advance this thing. So it's not like 20th Century Fox wasn't necessarily on board. And despite the success of the first film, he basically had to finance a lot of Empire Strikes Back by himself.
I remember that actually, yeah.
So we're not talking about anything new here. Studio think is very different from creative think. And one thing I wish he would have held on to was like, look, I don't care what you guys say about whether you like my movies or not. George essentially was an independent filmmaker. And he fought for the right to make his own film. You can like it or you can hate it. But I'm going to make this. I'm going to make these are my movies. This is my baby. This is my franchise. And you're not going to tell me what how it should be made. And the proof is in the pudding. All the films up through episode 6, they total, I don't know what it is, and if you estimate for today's dollars, but it's like $3-4 billion, something like that the first 6 movies made. If you do it in actual dollars, I know even the original Star Wars, I think at one point it might have been like number 2 after Titanic, which was like and I still don't understand how Titanic made all that money. I mean, it was alright, but I didn't love the movie. But it was like, if you adjust for inflation, it was, for a long time, it was second behind the Titanic in terms of a box office. Empire Strikes Back is considered, the best in the franchise. But the only film outside of the Lucas films that really nailed it, and again, my thing is, why didn't you keep the energy and keep the guy, was Rogue One. Rogue One is my second favorite Star Wars movie. I went a long time battling between Empire and Rogue One. But the more I see Rogue One, I think it
Rogue
just...
One was a very good movie.
So why not keep the same director? Why not keep the same creative that did Rogue One? You made the perfect prequel movie. Yeah, he did. Yeah, THX 138 and 68. And then he did American Graffiti, I think, in 73, 74, something like that. Yeah. But again, that THX, it was initially a student film, and then he got the rights to do a bigger film. And again, that was also to 20th Century Fox. So getting back to the Anne Land story. Again, but THX didn't do that well at the box office, though. It wasn't. It was like what we call like a cult classic. It wasn't a box office success, even though it was an excellent science fiction film. So if you want to see what science fiction is, THX is an excellent sci-fi film. But the money maker was American Graffiti. And so that proved to Ladd that, not only is he creative, but also he can make money. And that's what he sold to 20th Century Fox for them to greenlight the film. But even then, they only gave him $10 million. And again, how that movie got made is a miracle. Because again, they had to create stuff that did not exist. Industrial Light and Magic was created in that space. They literally did stuff fly by wire. Even though you had more technically advanced films, in my view, like I think, for example, 2001: A Space Odyssey, from a science fiction perspective, is still to this day one of the most accurate films, technically, that even today, shot in 1968, it still holds up technically. Outside of that, you're not going to have too many who can say that. All those space sci-fi movies from the 60s, and whatnot, pretty cheesy by today's standards, or even by the standards of that day. Star Wars broke all the rules. So again, credit to Lucas for putting all that together, Industrial Light and Magic, putting that all there. But yeah, I agree. But yes, THX was his first major film, which was originally a student project that he shot when he was at California, Berkeley. But American Graffiti was the moneymaker. And that was, so that combination is what convinced Ladd that, what, he's got the chops, he can do this. But that was the only guy was supported. But Rogue One, I'm thinking that's the only successful film in the post-Lucas era. Because again, shout out to the director. He was very much a Star Wars fan, and he kept the continuity. He kept the canon, the fidelity. And he knew he had to land the plane for episode 4, because that's where everything, without episode 4, without the original Star Wars, nothing would pop off. So in a way, he worked in a very confined space, but that's a good thing, because again, at least you know some rules. The sequel trilogies, they just I don't know where they were going. It's all over the place. But that's really it. And like I said, I gotta jump off. I gotta grab me something to eat. I gotta finish this work here and get ready to get a little nap before I gotta take my daughter out. But yeah, that's all I got on that. Do you have any more questions before I jump?
No, one thing I was gonna say, I agree with what you're saying. Is the only thing when I push back more a different opinion will be when the movies came out. He got a lot of shit. That's why he didn't go under the Hollywood borrow. He did it himself. He went rogue on those movies, and he became one of the biggest franchises in the world right now.
Yeah.
And Disney ruined it, except for the Mandalorian. I don't know if you've watched that yet, Paul. I remember telling you.
I watched episodes. I haven't seen the whole thing.
Keep watching. Seasons 1 and 2 were definitely for certain going to be worth your time.
Okay.
They're definitely this first two. Now the third season, I didn't have a problem with it.
Now this is the one, the third season. That's the one with Luke Skywalker. He's prime. They're doing AI.
He comes in the second season as well.
No, I thought he comes in at the end of the second season, right? That's when.
Yeah, that's right.
And then the third season, he's much more prominent in. He's dealing with the I forget the name of the little guy. So I thought the third season where he's
like that.
Yeah, Grogu or something. Yeah, but he's much more prominent, and they do again that take the actor and they do the face and all that kind of stuff on. In fact, I think didn't they hire the guy who did all those YouTube videos?
Who are you talking about?
The guy, he would take the movies and he would redo the faces and whatnot to make them more realistic.
I don't know if they hired him. I don't know.
But you know what I'm talking about, right?
I know what you're talking about, though.
Yeah. So I thought they hired that guy for the at ILM, but if they haven't, they should have.
It was a good job, though. My thing is the Mandalorian and Ahsoka. Those two, I think you should definitely watch.
I've seen some of Ahsoka. Yeah.
Because Ahsoka gets more into. I don't know if you've seen Star Wars Rebels, but.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah, Rebel. She ties her entire show ties directly into that. And the guy who played.
I haven't watched it, but that's what I heard. I heard Ahsoka's actually really good too.
For sure, it expands on the lore. You actually get to see that stuff in live action. Anakin comes back as a Force ghost. Not going to spoil anything more on that, because you do need to watch that as a Star Wars fan.
Correct. And like I said, everyone loves Anakin now, right? Everybody.
I don't though.
They hated, but again, back in the day, hated Anakin. They hated Hayden Christensen in Attack of the Clones, and they really didn't give him that much credit in Revenge of the Sith either.
Well, the thing is about those movies, they weren't good movies, but what gave them what they had was the help from the animated series, the Clone Wars. The Clone Wars fleshed out a lot of things that were missing from that trilogy.
Oh, sure.
That's what gives the prequel trilogy the boost that it needed, and now people like it because now people understand what was going on a lot more. And so like with Ahsoka, what I liked about it is they introduced Baylan Skoll, and he was fantastic. The actor who played him, it's a shame that he passed away. But he was like, oh, that was my favorite character throughout the whole that whole show of season one. But they recasted him since, and but the new guy who's going to play that character has some really big shoes to fill. I mean, shoes the size of a mountain. That guy was the original guy was perfect for that role. But strongly recommend you finish watching Mandalorian.
Yeah.
Um, Even if you got to start over, watch it. And right after that, watch Ahsoka.
Okay.
Those two are definitely worth it. But those, in my opinion, are the two biggest success stories post Lucas. Like that,
Right.
and also the one you just mentioned, your favorite film, the one where Vader slaughters people at the end.
Yeah, Rogue One. Yeah.
Rogue One. Yeah, that was
Yeah.
pretty good.
Now, did you like the I gotta go. Did you like the Anakin's not the Anakin, the Obi-Wan series?
No, it was trash.
Wow.
Absolute garbage.
I actually like
Even though Vader's prominent in it, it's still trash.
The thing is, they lied a lot in that show. It's like, no, Anakin is not losing this fight. Okay, in the end. So you telling me that today he's having trouble moving a matchbox with the Force and Obi-Wan, okay, and then that night he gets into a big fight with Anakin. All of a sudden he remembers how to use the Force at the same level that he used to. Stop it. No, you didn't. No, you did. The continuity, it was just all over the place. And then in the beginning, Leia is a little 8-year-old girl running away from grown men. Stop it. There's 4 of you. You can't catch an 8-year-old girl. Stop. It's silly stuff like that takes me out of it. I have a much better time watching war movies. I have a much better time watching Black Hawk Down for the 13 millionth time. So no, Obi-Wan was trash, absolute dumpster fire garbage.
Well, at least I don't know. For me, I saw basically where they captured all the Vader scenes. So again, that was to me that's the worst watch. I don't care anything with Vader in it. I don't care. I don't care.
True.
I don't care. Anything with Darth Vader in it, I don't care. I'm watching it. So
that's how they got me. Darth Vader was in it, so I'm gonna watch.
That's it.
That's
all I care about.
Okay,
that's all I care about.
Now,
but listen, gentlemen,
shit in there.
Keep the conversation going. I'll try to listen in. I got about an hour and a half, and I got to get some sleep. So I will continue in the chat if I can, but carry on with the show, and I'll see you guys. I'll see you tomorrow on the Grab Show.
Make sure you get some rest.
Will do. You guys take care.
Yeah, thanks.
Later.
No problem. Yeah,
So-
it's a shame he has to go, man. I like talking to Mr. Bennett about about nerd shit.
Hey, Joe, what do you think about Order 66?
Fantastic. I loved it. That's a very way to do a good culling. Because you had to do something, because if you watch the original trilogy, you're like, okay, what happened to all the Jedi? Well, they're all killed. How? And that answers the question. You see how, and it was a brilliant strategy. Brilliant strategy, you know what I mean? So I liked everything about that myself. It just wasn't, it was too PG for my usual taking. I mean, if you're gonna do that, do it. That's my philosophy. But like in the video games, they, especially the one Star Wars, The Old Republic, the MMO RPG, they don't hold anything back, man. They're taking heads and the whole nine. They do it. Okay. But yeah, that's my thing on Order 66. I liked it.
I think it was good, but they could have shown more. But again, I understand they couldn't because a lot of kids were watching it. I get
Right.
that.
So your opinion is the same as mine. Then they could have shown a lot more and been a little bit more brutal. And like Paul said, I think he said it was an emotional scene. But and I got the point was made, and that's what was important, really, because like you said, kids are going to be watching this. So make sure you do it. I think they just made sure that they did enough to get the point across and let people know just how dire the situation was and how bad it was. And there you have it. They kind of left it there, which is fair enough. It was fine for what it was, but I still liked it that they actually did it. They actually showed Jedi dying. So I mean, at least we got that.
Let me ask another question, and we're going to get into the next first video. Did you play the Jedi Fallen Order and Jedi Survivor?
I played the one with isn't it Cal Kestis?
Yes, he's in both of them.
Yeah, I played the first one.
What you think?
I liked the first one. I hadn't played the second one yet. The first one was fantastic. I really did like it. a kid. He was a kid, a Padawan during Order 66. You know, as you progress through the game, you have to remember the lessons you're taught and the skills you learned. Yeah, I enjoyed it myself. The second one, I have it. I bought it. I bought it on Steam. You know, I just hadn't picked it up. I've just been too busy to play it yet.
I get that part. You're too busy. But I played it and was extremely good. You're not gonna be disappointed. Trust me, dude. Just find the time and play. You're as a Star Wars fan,
Hmm.
10 out of 10.
Yeah, like that first one, I played it to death, dude. I mean, I think I got the platinum trophy on on PlayStation for that thing. The first one was really good. Really enjoyed it.
I agree 100%. So let me play the first video, and I want you guys' opinion on this stuff. Oh, where is it? Oop.
Everything that Anakin did during Order 66. As Anakin marched into the Jedi Temple, he was confronted by the Jedi Master named Jurok, who asked him what was going on. However, Anakin ignored his question, and by the end of their conversation, he struck his lightsaber right through the Jedi's chin. After he killed him, he continued to walk through the temple, and went on to slaughter many teenage Padawans and even a few Jedi Masters. Eventually, he made his way to a room filled with younglings, which were the same ones that we saw in Revenge of the Sith. Anakin then slaughtered them without hesitation and went on to storm the halls to attack any other younglings that tried to escape. Before he left the temple, he then found the Jedi Master Shaak Ti and stabbed her right in the chest. What was everything that Anakin did during
All right, who one goes first?
Yeah, but again, like I said, they did just enough to get their point across, and left a lot on the cutting room floor, which is fair enough. Whatever, but still enjoyable.
I liked it. It could have done more. I'm one of the rare people who actually likes episode 3 is my favorite one, to be honest with you. And it is because of the fighting scene. The fighting scene
Which
did it for
one?
me in the end. The end when Obi-Wan Kenobi and
Yeah, that one took me out of the movie though.
really, why?
Yeah, I didn't like that fight. It's surprisingly, much to everybody's surprise, and even mine, I just didn't like the fight. I was like, okay, so Anakin's supposed to be this prodigy, the chosen one. He's been training for years. He's mastered all the whole thing. Uh, yeah, I don't buy that Obi-Wan's lasting this long. I get that Obi-Wan will put up a fight, but then Anakin also has the boost of the dark side. So it's like, no, I don't believe you. He could have gotten done in. Yeah, he could have lost that fight. Fair enough. But I think Obi-Wan more so, I think they should have made Obi-Wan more so think his way out of that, as opposed to showing so much of him matching skill with him. Because Obi-Wan's form was Sarisu, the second lightsaber form, which is the all
Mhm.
defensive form. I get it. Now he was better at that form than anyone in the order, including Master Windu. He was better at that one form than Master Windu. Than everyone else, right?
Yeah,
But that was it. He was no like when you read the novels, he was no super powerful Jedi. You know what I'm saying? He was about to get kicked out of the order because he just wasn't picking up on the uptake good enough. You know what I mean? He sucked as a kid. But he's a tale of a person who had to work his way up. So my thing is him lasting against someone like Anakin for that long, I didn't buy it. And the fight drug on for me. I was like, no, dude, Anakin, just scare him away or something. You know what I'm saying?
I think the only reason Obi-Wan won is because of the high ground.
Yeah, I get that, but at the same time, it's like, okay, he has a high ground, but don't you guys like jump over buildings or something? Why'd you short this one? You feel me?
Yeah, you had a good point there.
It just didn't click for me.
Yeah, you do have a good point there. I didn't think like that. I'll give you credit. David, what do you think? Get in here. Come on.
After listening to the Honorable Paul Bennett describe what I was giving us some of in more detail, and him and Joe, I never got the chance to watch it, but looking at the clip,
You never saw that fight?
I asked myself, I stay away from Star Wars for a good
Okay, I
while.
mean, fair enough. If you hadn't, it's
I'm
just kind of a yeah. You took me off guard with it. I just knew you saw that fight.
because the thing is, the way Paul broke down the obvious. I remember that part where they were criticizing the guy over his mouth. I was like when he broke down, like I saw that on the news. A lot of the people were criticizing. Like I could not understand that. Why criticize someone about how he run his movie? Like if you could do a better movie, why don't you run your own movie?
Bingo.
That's what I said. The American movie industry is becoming crap.
Well, here's the thing. Like, here's the thing. I'll agree with Sparta on this one. Like, the Americans own Hollywood owned the movie industry since like 10, 50. I'll say 10 years ago. Like you said, the 80s and some of the 90s, but no, think about it. All the best movies came out of Hollywood until about 10 years ago. Now, see, then that's when you had Bollywood coming out, Indios making their films. Today, you got the Koreans coming out with they're doing their thing. Look at Squid Games. Look at Netflix, period, and all the Korean films there. So you have other industries just now making their mark in the movie industry. But Hollywood has been doing such a terrible job over the past 20 years, I'd say. It's like, yeah, no, you can't even get Star Wars right. And it's a license to print money, but that's how you treat it. You don't care about creating a quality product by writing a good story. That's what people want. They want a good story first. You can add the cool action scenes and stuff after the fact. We want a good story. We don't want a bunch of politics, social justice politics in our entertainment because we go there for escape. You know, I think that new Captain America movie got a bad rap. It really did. It's far better than what people say. If people say it's terrible, it's trash. No, it's not that bad. Come on, no, you got to give it
I,
better.
I never follow what people say. I will watch it and make my own goddamn opinion. That's
There
my
you go. Same here. But it wasn't that bad. Okay, and people, he's just Captain America. Give it to him because he's a black guy. No, in the comic books, Steve
Just
Rogers
pass it
passed the
down.
shield over to Sam Wilson. In the
Or
comic books,
Bucky.
that happened, and Steve and Bucky both agreed that Sam Wilson, the Falcon, was the best choice to be Captain America, and they passed the shield to him. They both agreed, and they did it. What I mean? But it's just Disney did a bad job of writing that film because they didn't know what story they wanted to tell, so they just kind of crammed like three different stories into one movie, and that's just not going to work. That's not going to work out as well as it could. And here's another thing. I think why Sam Wilson's getting a bad rap is because you've had the whole first movie to get to know who Steve Rogers was. You know who Steve Rogers was after the first movie. Whether you like the movie or not, you still had a whole movie to flesh him out. Then the second movie came out, which was to me one of the best movies that Marvel's made. Captain America 2, The Winter Soldier.
Mm-hmm.
Still to this day, that's one of the best things to come out of Marvel Studios. You still had that to flesh him out and see the things he had to deal with. Sam Wilson, you didn't really do that with Falcon and the Winter Soldier. Not really. We still don't know who Sam Wilson is. Then you bring him in this movie, his own movie, fantastic job, but we don't know who this guy is. You know what I'm saying?
No, I
Captain
totally
America,
agree. That's why
Captain
I'm
America,
shaking my head.
Captain America had 3 films. You know who Steve Rogers is by the time Endgame and Thanos comes in earnest. That whole thing. You know who Steve Rogers is. We still don't know who Sam Wilson is though, and that's why he gets such a bad rap. You didn't do a good job of fleshing this character out. You just kind of gave it to him and sent him on his way. But the audience can't connect to him because they don't know him. You know who Iron Man is.
Yeah.
He had his own first movie all about him. Steve Rogers' own movie all about him. You screwed up the Hulk. How? And if you can't get the Hulk right, you're not going to get Dr. Doom right. He's a mad scientist. He's a genius. Okay, he's a wizard sometimes, kind of, and he rules his own country. I mean, how do you fuck that up? but they haven't gotten Doctor Doom right yet. And they've had how many Fantastic Four movies?
This will be the third one coming out.
Right. You haven't gotten Doctor Doom right yet. How do you screw that up?
I still have a hard time him being what's called Iron Man being Doctor Doom. I still have a hard time
Yeah,
processing
he's probably
that.
going to be a variant of some sort. Because they do, they need to. Here's the thing: Marvel can't write. They can't write multiverse content. They just
No, they're bad at it.
they're horrible at it. I agree. And my thing is with them and DC. Who's ever writing these animated movies that DC's making? Why are you not getting them to write the live action joints? Okay, it's the same thing with Marvel. I don't understand. And then you got go back to the comic books. Just do what the comic books did. These stories are already written for you. They can't get right, man. Well, no, we have to put something. No, you don't. Nobody wants that in their TV. Nobody wants that. But they keep putting social justice nonsense in it. And that's fine for real life. That's something we have to deal with on an everyday basis. But we go to watch a film to escape it. We don't want to see that there.
And that's when people don't understand. It's supposed to be an escape, not a wake up reality.
Yeah. Yep. But yeah,
The
this
only
Captain
exception
America.
to that rule, I think, if it's realistic, like historical fact movies, that's a different concept. I think
What's that?
when you're talking about like Black Hawk Down, Pearl Harbor, that's a little different. I think that's exception to that rule. You know what I'm saying?
Kinda.
Okay. We watch movies to get escape from reality. I agree. But when
Mhm.
you watch historical movies, I think that's the excuse to that rule because you're just watching history lesson now. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, people have to understand that.
Not,
Like I said,
now that and now that you just said that just now, when you're watching a movie that is escape of reality, that's not historical, then why did that a lot of these movies that not keyword historical have too much work element in it to begin with?
yeah, I don't know.
Alexander Gray is a great example. That was a horrible movie.
There's the reason why I don't watch American movies and I continue to watch movies that's from outside this country. Mostly Japanese movies, South Korean movies, Chinese movies, even Bollywood, which have a little comical accent behind it, know me.
Hmm.
But still, at least they're being creative about it.
Yeah, and the thing is, like you've asked me a couple of times, grooming, what's what movies are realistic to the real thing. I remember I
Hmm.
told you like 13 Hours. Black Hawk Down is another good one. If you're looking for things that are like how combat actually is, I think that Black Hawk Down does it because I watched it again, right? Here recently, and I was like, yeah, you know what? They actually did a really good job with that.
Oh yeah, he did. My buddy CQ had one of the guys who was actually a ranger at who was at 13 Hours on his show, and he said they got a lot of stuff right. They got a lot of things
They
wrong
did.
too.
Remember, I told you that too. Like, hey, they got a lot of stuff correct in that film. Like, especially like the ebbs and flows of war of combat, like how it's absolute chaos for about 10 minutes, but then everything, and then there's absolutely nothing for like an hour or two. You know what I'm saying? But then all of a sudden, and it's spooky because it's like ghost stuff. You know what I'm saying? Like they try to sneak up on you and ambush you, and it's just like everything's quiet after the shooting stops, but then something's up when everything is too quiet. Like weird shit will start to happen. Weird shit, and it's hard to explain, like put into words. But somehow your sixth senses come into play, like and then you start seeing people in the dark moving because you got your nags on. You know what I'm saying? We got our night vision, we can see them, and so it's just yeah. 13 Hours did a good job of that. That's a good interpretation. But then also there's Black Hawk Down. They did a good job of showing it, and then a lot of those there are some guys who are like, yeah, that's not how it actually happened, but it's a good approximation.
The thing with war movies, and I think you're gonna agree with me, in real combat, it's shoot for what 30, 45 minutes, maybe max on a real back battle. Then you're sitting around for another 8 hours.
two or three. Yeah, it's. I think Bill Maher did a description of war, and it was actually he. I don't think he knows how accurate he was. He said it's like it's vast stretches of boredom punctuated by moments of sheer terror. That's what it is. Moments of sheer terror. Yep. Other than that, you're playing PlayStation, Xbox, you're lifting weights. You know what I'm saying? It's
You're trying to find somehow to keep you so busy the whole
yep.
time.
You're
But
reading
when shit
books.
goes down, it's fast. It's not going like that's the thing
Yes.
with movies.
When shit happens, everything's moving. Like watch those movies and fast forward, and that's how fast the real thing seems to be moving.
And that's my point. In a movie, it's going to be a very boring movie if you did that. That's why you had to do it a certain way. Or am I wrong?
Yeah, you have to put some movie magic in it. But that's why I tell people about these movies. I'm like, hey, just understand they're not documentaries. There is a margin of movie magic in it, no matter how accurate the movie is. Like even 13 hours got down all the weird shit that starts to happen. That's what really struck me with it. Like they
Mhm.
even got the weird shit that happens, like RPGs ricocheting off walls and off streets and off streets and shit. It's like wait, I was like yeah, I believe not. I've actually seen that. It's crazy, like the weird shit that happens in combat, like things that you would not expect to happen. Like they even got that in there.
Yeah.
And it's stuff
Maybe
you're like, no way that happens. That only happens in movies. And like, no, weird shit like that is weird. I know it is, but yeah, it happens.
even in the jokes that you were making, is it probably a bad time to go tell you guys I need to take a shit? And like, yeah, I kind
Yeah,
of in the middle of
that,
combat.
that happens all the time.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, because we tell jokes and like our humor, military humor is different from normal people's humor. Like you asked
Oh,
me
I know.
in an interview, like, "Hey, tell us a funny story." I got plenty of stories that are funnier, but for the sake of the audience, I was like, "Yeah, can't really tell those on air." You know what I'm saying? But
Oh, I know.
because I
Dude,
almost
I have
did,
a
like,
lot
it
of
was one in
military friends. I
particular
get it.
I was thinking of. I was like, I almost said it. I was like, I, nah, maybe I shouldn't. I'm sitting laughing thinking about it. But yeah, it seems you tell a friend in confidence, like in person, or like one on one. But the general audience of people, because they're not gonna understand it. Like, how do you think that's funny? Because it was.
Yeah, somebody who I understand the humor because I have a lot of friends who are in the service,
Right.
and I crack up at it. Like normal jokes. I'm like, I don't get it personally.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's
Yeah,
just
man.
David, what you guys say on this? You're just too quiet there. I want you to fall asleep again.
I told you I don't have much to say because I've been watching a lot of Jedi series and movies for a while since after
No,
Imperial
I'm talking
time.
about the movie thing that we're talking
But
about, like how movies are not as accurate as real life stuff.
that have been American movie industry number one issue. They want to rewrite what they think it should be instead of finding real people who can express it down. Because I remember watching a YouTube video where a lot of specialists from Mandrell, my part of the world, and you have seen it too. Talk about fight scene, talk about the gun scene,
Hmm.
and they call it a lot of
Yeah,
things that's not
a lot of
realistic.
the gun fights,
And what
the
and they did
bullshit.
it.
A lot of them, like
The fact that it's too much of it. Now, Mandrell is not the same circle. Mandrell is a martial artist just like us. He started from karate, they got into boxing, got into jiu-jitsu. So imagine when we all three watch a mixed martial art movie and we start seeing a bunch of bullshit. You start to call out left and right. You're like, no, 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 no. Like, come on. Even there are movies whereby the actors are not even martial artists to begin with. You had to play a double to replace them. Only a few actors willing to train to learn the art so they could do a proper movie. The rest of them, oh, they get a double that look like him and you do CGI magic. And you can tell right off the back it's something different. But what I find out is just that the amount of bullshitting, or I can't call it bullshitting, fake it till you make it that thing in the movie screen and getting uncalled for. I take a perfect example, Doctor Strange. I can never let that one go. You want to tell me you couldn't find an Asian person who played the Asian one? We get a woman to wear a skin hat to play the Asian one? Like you that serious, right? There's no amount of Asian actors that you know who can play that part perfectly well.
Yeah, and Tilda Swinton did a good job of it, but I agree. Like, you couldn't have found an Asian. You telling me you couldn't have gotten Gordon Liu to play that part? Gordon Liu, and everyone knows him. He's the monk in like all those old school kung fu movies back in the 70s. He played a monk. He even shot a monk in like all of his films, and he didn't mind it though. He got typecast that way, but he didn't mind it because he was actually trained by his brother in Shaolin Kung Fu. Yeah, he's an actual Buddhist monk in real life. You know what I'm saying? So he didn't mind it, but I agree with David on that one. It's like you couldn't have found an Asian one.
So that's just another. That's one of the many examples. I've seen a lot of movies that I thought the question like, so you couldn't find a better actor than this? Like all the character flaw that you've been making left and right. Either you need to find someone who play the Asian part, the black part. I'm not gonna go in there. The ancient Egyptian movie don't fall close to the characteristic of it. Let's be
Yeah,
real
and
with
they're
that
all
one.
white guys playing
It's like
ancient
every
Egyptians.
okay, see, see
They're
what I'm
all
saying?
white guys. There's one with where they're playing like they're talking about it was about the ancient Egyptian gods, Ra, Horus, all those guys, you know.
Mhm.
And it's all white dudes playing ancient Egyptian gods. I'm like, no, no, no.
And you nowhere near the like, you nowhere near the race qualification for that. But you put it there anyway.
And then the last samurai is Tom Cruise. Are you fucking crazy?
Okay, okay.
I didn't think it was that
That
movie
that one,
actually.
I. Oh no! Oh no! Oh no! Oh no! Mandrell, you brought a napalm bomb to the
I'm telling
conversation.
you, man.
Go ahead. So what you guys say, David?
Hollywood is crazy.
The last samurai got you wonder if you want to trust American industry ever again. Tom Cruise, of all people. No, Mandrell, let's not leave it there. Tom Cruise playing this character called what did I do it again? Reacher,
Yeah, Reacher. Stop it.
of all people.
That character.
Like,
Now,
come on.
here's the thing: the character in the Reacher show, and if you're not watching the Reacher television show on Amazon Prime, you're wrong. Okay, but anyway, the character Reacher is like 6'6", 6'7" in the books, and he's like 300 pounds of pure muscle. You know what I'm saying? But here's Tom Cruise, 5'7", 180 pounds, 170 pounds, playing Jack Reacher.
You might want to take Mandrell and blow him up and make it fit the character.
Yeah, yeah. You just give me that height lengthening surgery or something. You know, I'd be a better fit, even though I'm black. I mean, you hired Tom Cruise. I mean, what's the difference at this point?
But imagine that when I saw that and someone told me something's off, and then what do you mean? It's based on a book, and he showed me that part. Reacher is 6 foot
Yeah, he's
6,
huge.
almost 300. Dude, I was like, when I saw that, I said, you know what? I am
But now the guy
done.
in the Amazon show, he fits the bill. I look at him and
Fit
I
is
fit.
not fit not even a word. He looked like a
Yes,
tank.
he fits the bill. That's Jack. Now I see him. You go to how they explain how Jack Reacher looks in the books, and then you see the guy on screen. You're like, okay, I believe that. I believe he's Jack Reacher.
But you'll give somebody the complete mirror opposite to play Jack Reach. I was like, okay, you know what? I am done with the movie, American movie, because whatever movie you put on the theater, I'm not gonna believe it. I'm not gonna believe it. I'm just not going to because it's like say either you think we're not. Let me take that statement. I'm about to say it. Yes, the American movie production arena think American people are dumb. So they just buy
I
it
mean,
back.
most of them are dumb. That's the problem, David.
And I'm about to say something. I was like, no, let me stop myself. Like,
I
put a
mean,
full
Pete. I
brake.
mean, Pete got lucky. He's Greek. They invented like the things like the calendar.
This is Sparta!
Yeah, I mean, you can't call him stupid. They invented things like like I said, the calendar. They invented philosophy, math,
But technically, Greeks invented most of half the stuff out there right now. You really
yeah,
think about it.
democracy. So I mean, we can't
Wait
really
up.
talk shit to
How many
Peter.
Greek movies? No, hold on. How many Greek movies did American industry have done without putting really Greek actors in there?
There are a lot of good movies
A
out there,
lot.
David. You can't say every bad movie American made is bad. Let's be straight here,
Look
dude.
like
I'm
this.
being honest here with you.
I say from the 80s to the early 90s,
Oh
you have
yeah,
some
I'll give you a
great
good
movies.
example.
After
13
that,
Hours.
it's pretty okay.
Okay, it's one of the best movies of the year, bro. What are you talking about? Man, Joe, am I wrong or right?
Um, let's be real though. The award industry, I don't trust them anymore. Some of the best movies never got an award because their favorites have been playing around. Same thing with the music award. Some people who never have a great album gain an award out of nowhere. So I don't know. There are a lot of hypocrisy that have been going on. And me, I'm a very tough critic. Man, Joe called it correct. A great movie have a great storyline without all the power technique, without all the firework, without all the shenanigans. But if you had to put too much firework, so much fighting to the cover up of a lack of storyline, then what do you want me to say?
Yeah, that's one thing about like when I joined the army and I saw an actual explosion. I was like, oh man, that's it. Because in the movies, there's a big fireball. You know what I'm saying? It lasts like three. The explosion's going on for like 10 minutes. You know what I'm saying? But then you see it in real life, and you're like, well, where's the rest of it?
And you think I'm bad, Ghost of Sparta? Look at Manjo. He's saying it's a explosion. Imagine how many movie Manjo watched after seeing a real explosion, and he watched the movie like this. Really? You're not over exaggerating the explosion. That don't make that much
Yeah,
explosion.
it doesn't. They don't like. There's nowhere near that much unless you make a no.
God forbid you milk a plane crash explosion, and Manjo would have seen it too. He'd be like, "No, that's way too much gas.
Right, exactly. And not unless
That's
you got
that's
something
horrible."
that's burning fuel, explosions aren't that big.
So imagine you watching expert who criticize movies, gunplay, fight scene, and you got to realize, okay, then compared to other ethnic countries who got better movie than we do, where the fight scene actually makes sense. I ask the question, what happened to all these so-called movie university? Are they teaching me the proper thing or teaching me how to gaslight
Now,
people?
what's really going to cook your noodle is why don't people figure this out sooner, David? When you watch a martial arts fight on film, but then you see a fight in real life or in MMA or in boxing, and it looks completely different.
I've been saying that for the longest, man. People tell me, what did I know? What did I know? What did I know? I'm like, you seriously? I used to criticize UFC fight. I like two cookie cutter.
Well, here's the thing: you ever notice in UFC? I'm sure Peter has noticed, but Pete, you ever notice nobody blocks?
Oh, I've been noticing that from day one.
Yeah, you notice that. You notice that in UFC, nobody blocks.
The first thing you learn in any martial art, you always fucking block. It doesn't matter.
Thank you. Nobody. To this day, I'm still wondering it. Wait, how come nobody's blocking?
And they'll Lieutenant Machida was the one who was blocking the most. When you did karate style fighting with me, and they say, "Oh,
Now notice
I don't like
the
his style."
best champions that have come through there: Bass Rutten, George St. Pierre, Lyoto Machida. They all started with what? Karate. All
Bingo.
of the best fighters, they all start with karate. They might get into something else later on, to learn the different. Like Machida learned, Brazilian jiu-jitsu, of course, and he also practiced, learned a little capoeira stuff like that. But his bread and butter is karate.
And the way he will fight in UFC with a karate style, fencing style karate stance, whereby it's more counteracting.
Yep.
All you do is slip up and he catch you with it.
Bas Rutten was a beast, and it all started with karate. Because and the thing is, when you watch them fight, they're actually blocking. Like this ain't algebra.
All
Okay.
right, let's get back on topic. I think we went off topic way too long already.
Yeah, we
No,
did.
you ain't
All
all,
right,
but
hang in there. Let's get back on topic here. We're way off topic.
We are.
All right, let's play the next video.
How many Jedi survived Order 66? Although Order 66 ended up wiping out the Jedi Order, have you ever wondered as to how many Jedi actually survived? Well, this answer might surprise you. At the time of Episode 3, there was a total of about 10,000 Jedi Knights spread across the entire galaxy. However, once Order 66 happened, 99% of those Jedi died, which then led to most of the survivors either becoming Inquisitors or being forced to go into hiding. With that said, the amount of survivors was just a little bit over a total of about 100 Jedi. How many Jedi?
Okay, that makes sense.
All right.
God damn.
So,
That was a massacre.
hang on one second. I get that in here. All right, Elf, you're on the air. What's up, buddy?
Uh-oh. He's angry and unseen.
Oh, he's you want a hardcore Star Wars fan? Elf is my man. He will go ballistic on this. All right, so he figured out what's going on his side. But the issue I have with this is like, if I don't see a Jedi Order, a real Jedi Order Jedi, and I didn't say that right, from the Order, a Jedi from the Order, who's taught his whole life, do not go to the dark side to become a Quinlizer. I can't pronounce the fucking word. That I have an issue with a little bit.
You talking about the people guys who became Inquisitors?
Yes.
Okay. Now, if you watch Star Wars lore just like I do, the thing is they didn't really when they became Inquisitors, it was more like, hey, you're either gonna do this or you're gonna die. Now. So, because Vader was still hunting Jedi, and he would catch them, and then once they were captured, you either become an Inquisitor or I kill you. And so they didn't have a choice.
I thought they have more fight in them.
Yeah, you would think. But I mean, I guess not.
It doesn't add up to me for that. That part does not ever add up to me. Like, you thinking of after all the training you have, Vader has the same training as you do. Yeah, it might be more focused and with the dark side and all that, so yada yada. Yeah, you're probably not gonna win a fight. I get it. But don't you want to at least try, see if you can fight? You're fucked anyway.
Yeah, that's true. You're gonna yeah, that's true.
Because if he wins he uses you, whatever. When he's done with you, he's gonna fucking kill you no matter what.
But it's a chance. At least we have a chance to live this way. No, yes,
I don't buy it.
You and I know that they actually don't, but yeah, I don't really have anything for that.
I just don't buy it. For some reason, I do not buy it. I think it's more there than we see.
Well, the thing is, here's what I will say to it, because I've seen this too. It's one thing to think that you know what you would do when it comes to a given situation, and another to be in that situation for real and find out. Because understand, think about it. The Jedi have had it really good for a few thousand years by the time Order 66 and Vader came around. So they were, just like Yoda said, they were arrogant, so too sure of themselves. And then when shit got thick, they found out that they weren't really built like that. And because it even happens in the army, you got people who, not even just army, Navy SEALs too. You have people who go through all the training, but then when the bullets start flying, different story. You know, so it happens. It actually does happen in real life. They went all through all the training and all that stuff, yeah, and still.
Jedi Mike, I send you the link if you want to join us.
Now, on that note, when I see about 10,000 Jedi's and only 100 survive. Now, here where I found it very well. I'm glad Joe mentioned that quantum training. Every Jedi was trained to understand and utilize the Force, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's not so, yes or no?
Yeah.
I trying to find logic is if you're training 10,000 plus Jedi on how to utilize and understand the Force, how is it that you have connection to what we consider to be the supernatural, just nowhere different from a new type Gundam pilot who can understand something is not right here? How you allow yourself to get massacred down to 100 without even feeling a shift in the force?
You're right. But before, hang on.
Well,
Let's get Elf in here for a second. Rob, what's going on, my man?
What's up, dude?
And the fact that I
what's
say
up,
that
Drill
as
Sard?
the elf look on his
Hey,
face,
hey, 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 hey.
How the fuck did you have that take that job, man? Good
Which
lord.
job? Being a drill sergeant? I got bullied
Yes.
into that.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. I don't know a single person who actually wanted that job. Not
I
one
wanted
person
it because
actually
Bro,
of
Rob
wanted
is
rules.
a
that job.
unique person that you cannot. If you tell him no, he probably could do it anyway.
Good lord. We said he was a drill sergeant. I said, oh, that poor man, poor guy. You have to deal with privates every day.
Oh God, I loved it because I get to use beat up on them, take my
Yeah.
aggressions out on them.
Well, yeah, that would be the fun part.
Yes,
He
it
probably
would
had a
be.
bad knife at home. His wife pissed him off, like, "Come here, scumbags."
Dude, I wasn't home long enough to freaking have my wife be pissed off at me.
Yep.
That explains why she was pissed off at you all the time.
Yeah.
Hey man, hey Drill. I was SF. I didn't even bother getting married
Well,
because I mean, when you're home, when you're away from home, 300 days out of the year,
yeah.
it's like yeah. I was like, what's the point? Then everyone I knew had been divorced 3, sometimes 4 times. I was like, yeah, there's no point.
I'm holding
There's no
strong.
point. Right.
Him and CQ are probably the two people that I know that have been
Yeah.
married pretty much the whole lives.
Good job. Good on you
Oh,
too, man. Hey, that's
yeah.
actually an accomplishment in my book.
All right, Rob, I know you got something to say about this, so the floor is yours. I'll give you the floor for a minute. Open. Give me the angry elves version of this.
Version of that. What's the topic? Jedi
We're
fallen
talking about
order?
Order
Jedi
66.
escape?
It's a Jedi who survived it.
Dude, I'll tell you this much. If a Jedi survived Order 66, that Jedi has got massive PTSD. Like we're talking about like what we think about soldiers nowadays, having PTSD from Iraq and Afghanistan. That Jedi Master, goddamn, like think about it. His or her freaking clone troopers turn against them and try to murk them. Dude, they've got massive problems. Like, if they survive that, they don't trust anyone. They don't even trust themselves. And I've heard recently I had a conversation with somebody who was like, they want to see Mace Windu and what happened after Order 66 with Mace Windu. Dude, that guy, he's got to be broken. Like, yeah, I would watch that series, but it's got to be dark until he finds out that like Luke Skywalker's exists, and then realistically, like, why couldn't he help Luke? guy's broken. He's seriously broken. Like, think about it. Like Ahsoka, they show Ahsoka. She dealt with the initial Order 66, Captain Rex and all that fun stuff, and she continued on, hoping build the rebellion. But God, Ahsoka's got to be broken somewhere. She's not right.
Then have to deal with
And
the
so
fact that they
anybody that
failed.
survived Order 66, they're broken.
Then they had to deal. Yet on top of that, the fact that they had to deal with the fact that they failed so epically.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like that's got to hurt too.
Right. Like, everything failed for them. Their clone troopers, the Jedi Order, everything collapsed. And they're like, seriously, where did I go wrong? Did I back the wrong pony? Am I on the wrong side?
And how
They're
did I not see
questioning
this?
everything.
How did I not see this through the Force before it happened?
Yeah.
That whole thing.
So like I kind of think like think back the Obi-Wan series, how it kind of opened, how Obi-Wan, the he's he's broken. He doesn't know where he's at. And he's just doing that
No.
freaking, yeah.
And one day, out of the fucking blue, he's able to defeat Darth fucking Vader.
Well, we had a freaking couple adventures. He had a reconnection with the Force.
Come on, don't try to help him. You didn't buy it.
Oh
either.
yeah, that was a reach and stretch.
Right. You didn't buy it either.
No, I thought it was a cool scene, but yeah, I was kind of like, what?
Yeah, same here, man. I was like, yeah, cool scene and everything. You did some cool stuff, but I've seen it in the video games before, so it's not original. And then I
I
was
want to
like,
ask you a question really fast.
yeah.
With
What's that?
Disney taking over versus George Lucas, what is your opinion behind this? Because we're pretty against, we're like anti Disney right now.
Lucas versus Kathleen Kennedy. Let's be real. We're not talking about Lucasfilm. We're talking about George versus Kathleen. We're talking about somebody who's uber political versus uber like DEI, women first, woke, whatever. Like George was trying to tell an anti-George W. Bush story, and Kathleen Kennedy's trying to tell a women strong freaking DEI story. That's what it boils down to.
God damn.
Yeah.
And I totally agree, Rob. 100%. I agree 100%. And it just, I remember the comments you made. We don't have enough material to make more movies.
Bullshit.
I
I got
agree
more
with you.
comics than I
See?
got.
Told you.
She's got more
Told you.
comics than freaking she has hair in her ass. Like, come on, give me a break. I could tell freaking better Star Wars stories than she freaking came up with, or and I say she because she's the head of Lucasfilm. I know she's got minions to do this shit, but the bottom line is, goddamn,
Did
they
you ever
got
play?
fucking stuff to pull with.
Did you ever play Star Wars: The Old Republic? The
Absolutely.
MMORPG? Yeah, I still got it
Yes.
installed on my computer. I still play it to this day. Did you play the Sith Warrior story? No doubt you
Yes.
did, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you play the Empire agent story?
No, I don't remember that, but I
Okay,
mean,
yeah, well,
I played plenty of it.
if you could go back and play that story.
I
Okay.
got a better
But,
question.
but,
Rob.
but my point is this: whoever wrote that stuff, why don't you just get them to write the movies?
Here's an even better question, Rob.
That was my point to it. Like whoever wrote that, let them write the movies.
But Rob, have you played Fallen Order and Survivor?
Absolutely. I love both
What
of
do you
those
think about
games.
those? I think those stories are awesome.
Yes.
Well, whoever
Take
wrote
those.
that, let them write this. Let them write the movies.
Here, let me put it this way. I forget the actor's name that plays the main Jedi. Oh God. But anyways, I would love to see him come into live action. And I absolutely I want a third game. I want a third game to complete the story or put him on, you know, Ahsoka or give him his own damn story. Like he needs to complete it. Like, that's a good story. I love both of those games. The first game was stronger than the second game, but the bottom line is both games are playable. They're
Are
good
very
games.
solid games.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
They
that's
want a third
rare
game.
for Star Wars.
I
Do
told
you
Grooming that I
remember?
played the first one, but I haven't played the second one yet. I got the second one, but I haven't played. I just hadn't had the time to play it
I
yet.
better I'll give you a better example, Rob. Do you remember Star Wars Force Awaken? Is it a Force Awaken? What?
You talking about the first movie? Yes.
No. The game. What was it called? It was on PS3, I believe. Hang on, let me look it up.
Oh, you're talking about Force Unleashed.
Yes, thank you. You remember those games?
Yes. I
What's your
played
opinion on
both
those?
games. I love both of those games. In fact, when Hasbro released an action figure from Force Awakens about a year or two, no, last year, I bought that figure. I love that game. That both of those games are awesome. I wish they did a third game.
I thought the second one was rushed. I felt
Yeah, I agree with that. I
it was
agree.
still a good game. Don't get me wrong. I felt it was rushed.
Yeah,
That's all I was saying.
yeah, I got that feeling that it was rushed, but overall, both games are playable.
I agree 100%. I will
You know,
also agree with you. They should make a third one, like you said, a third, um, maybe whatever, But I want to ask you a question. I don't know if you know, and you probably will know. The movie was supposed to be when they released number 7 was
Mhm.
supposed to be the new Jedi Order originally.
Right.
Would you prefer that or this crappy shit we got?
I would go. I mean, go with the source material. Go with
Thank
stuff
you,
that's been written. I
thank you.
mean, yeah, absolutely. Go back to what was done in the late '90s and early 2000s in novels. Like, data mine that stuff. Give me Luke with Mara Jade and have them married and have Ben Solo as their son. Have
Ben
Leia and
Skywalker, yeah.
Han have twins. Yeah,
Mara Jade, bring all that back, man.
I
yeah,
personally had an
and I,
issue. This is the conversation we had at work today with my chef. My chef goes to me. I thought it was actually a pretty decent movie. Those are better than the first three. They're prequels.
Wait, what?
mhm.
What was better?
The last three.
What do you mean? The ones with Ray and Finn?
Yes,
I
he said my
disagree.
my boss thinks they're better than the prequels. I
I
disagree.
disagree. I think
I
they're.
Your
disagree.
I
Ross
think.
is brain damaged.
Yeah, I disagree wholeheartedly, man. You can have to work real hard to be worse than that.
Yeah,
Rob, if I get fired, I'm fucking you up because he's probably watching this right now.
I
that's
disagree.
fine.
Hey,
That's fine.
that's fine. Yeah, I disagree with your boss on that one. No, sir.
I agree with you, and I try to break it down to him like the Jedi Order. It was a religion. That's what I try to tell him. One, two. Everybody had jobs. You had those ambassadors. You had the warriors. You had the doctors and the librarians. Everybody had a role in the order. It was
Right.
just like a religion. And he looking with all his mouth all like really like the way he when they Kylo Ren stopped the blaster that can't really fucking happen in Star Wars lore. That's a new thing.
Yeah,
That
I mean,
was new.
they came up with so much shit for these new movies. Like, dude, I've smoked some good weed. Like J.J. Abrams and Kathleen Kennedy, but must have been smoking some really good freaking reefer.
Well, we find something new about Rob every time. He's a pothead.
Hey, he's out of the
But
army now. He's retired. He can do that.
Yeah.
he probably gets from CQ too.
No. I get it from a different source.
But seriously, Rob, they had so much materials in their hand, and they said "fuck you" to it. They even brought George Lucas back, if I remember correctly, for a whole movie. They did all this stuff, and they didn't even use none of the stuff they worked with.
Well,
He even
no,
gave him a
what
script.
Yeah, he gave him like an outline for like 3 movies, not just 1 movie, but he gave him an outline for 3 movies, and they put that in the trash
That's my
bin.
problem with those movies. Because
Yeah.
they had it right in their goddamn hands, and they took it and threw it in the garbage.
Kennedy, like, god damn it. And I
Well,
don't care what anybody says in the last week or so that she's going to quit in this calendar year. No, she's not. She's not going to quit until she has a phenomenal, like, award-winning movie. Kathleen Kennedy's going to die in that office.
I believe it.
I mean,
is it going to be sooner rather than later?
eh, with modern medical science, I'd say it's like 20 years before she dies.
Yeah, she's in Hollywood and shit. She's 70 years
Yep.
old.
You know who I think would probably be a good fit for that role to push the movies in the right direction? Feige.
No,
You don't think so? Why?
he's a contractor. Feige? Oh, I mean Feige. No. I'm sorry. I'm thinking of John Favreau. Feige? No, leave him over the MCU. He's screwing that up. Don't bring him over to Star Wars because Star Wars are already screwed up. John Favreau. If you can get John Favreau to step up and kind of take charge of this, we have some hope.
Mm-hmm.
If you bring over Kevin Feige or bring up what's his name, Dave Filoni, we're screwed. The best idea is bring somebody like me who's outside of the whole goddamn franchise in, and
A
legitimately,
fan,
if I
a
was to
hardcore
have,
fan.
yeah, well, not even that, but somebody who's got a freaking level-headed mind. But if I got, if my phone rang tomorrow and said, "Hey, you're in charge of Lucasfilm as of Monday," what are you gonna do? First thing I would do was announce that, like, a freeze on everything for the next 5 years. Nothing unless it's like Andor, which is pretty much ready to go, and maybe the Grogu and Mandalorian movie, which is supposedly like a little bit of special effects and it's ready to go. Anything outside of that, nope, shit canned. And then I spend the next 5 years trying to figure out where we're going and what we're doing. Fire some of the people that freaking don't do anything for me, and keep my freaking core writers and idea makers. And then somewhere around, we're 25, so 2030, first movie.
I thought that's what they were doing actually originally.
Yeah, well, no, they were trying to do stuff every other year, or every
Every
year,
year. They're trying to do something every year.
every
Yeah.
year.
Hmm.
But I would go at least 5 years before another movie, and it would be something way beyond what we're doing. If I had to do it, I would do something like how Star Trek did it in the late 80s, from differentiating between the original series and what eventually became Next Generation, jump at almost 100 years between franchises
Yeah, a
and
whole
create
different
like
story.
basically Star Wars, The Next Generation.
You know what I would have done though with this sequel trilogy that they did? It would have been a big homage to the original cast and give fans what they wanted with this trilogy.
Yes.
And then after that, do whatever you want. You can follow the ball after that, but people waited 40 years to see what Grandmaster Luke Skywalker can do, and you did nothing with him.
Right. I
Oh,
I
that was a
absolutely
waste.
agree.
That was a
I
waste.
would
I'm
get
surprised he actually did that movie.
when I went and saw Force Awakens for the first time, I kept thinking I was just waiting for Luke to show up at the last second. Light the green lightsaber, block fucking Kylo Ren's blade, and it's Luke saves Han, and or something along those lines. And it's like Luke just comes out of middle of nowhere, and he saves the day. And the Jedi theme starts blazing in the background, bah, bah, ba-da-da, da. And there's Luke Skywalker saving the day. Instead, we get freaking Luke who just kind of looks pissed. In the next movie, Ray hands him the lightsaber and he throws it over the freaking cliff. Like, give me a break. What the fuck just happened?
I don't think Luke we know would ever done that.
No,
To be, I'm sorry, Rob.
Luke's the type of person that would have done everything he can to save the day.
Yes, he's the most optimistic person like ever. To say nothing of the Star Wars universe, man. He would not have given up.
Right.
He would not have given up ever. You know what I mean? And then they took this iconic character and did
No.
that to him. But see, we should have known something was up when Hamill.
Even Mark Hamill.
Yeah, when Mark Hamill said what he said, I fundamentally disagree with everything you've done with this character. We should have known
why
then.
the
Yeah,
fuck
exactly.
do the
Jake
role then?
Skywalker. This is not Luke. This is Jake.
Right. That's the way he explained it too.
I don't understand why do it because
Yeah.
he
Because
that what
you
made his
can't.
career.
Then you don't have Star Wars without Mark Hamill.
If he says, "Listen, I'm not doing this movie.
For the most
Fuck you guys. Fix the script, and then I'll do the movie."
They would have tried to recast him, which would have been worse.
I don't think they would be able to.
they would have recasted him or they would have just written him out of it.
Yeah, and you can't. And the thing is, dude, it's just I don't blame Hamill at all.
No, it's not his fault. I agree with you.
Right. But this is what happens when you take. I want a different director for each film. No, tell one story, give one director his vision, and go with it. But above all else,
that's the
people
problem.
want.
They had
Above all else, people want a good story, and J.J. Abrams played it way too safe.
right.
He played it way too safe. It was just you should have just named it Star Wars Greatest Hits because you just took what happened in the original trilogy and put it all in one movie. That's literally all you did. Another Death Star. Why? So after all this time, your brilliant idea was to take Planet Ilum and turn it into a fucking Death Star? That's your ultimate plan?
Yeah.
That failed twice. Why would you do it again?
Because he had nothing else to do.
Because they ran out of
Yeah.
ideas.
And he said he took a lot of ideas from the New Hope. He said it.
Yeah, no kidding. We saw it.
Yeah, it reeked of no hope.
It was a bad remake. That's what it was.
They would have been better off adapting Dark Empire.
Yeah.
I agree.
Because like in the novels, man, you got a lot of stuff in the source material. You got the using Vong, all that whole thing. That was a massacre. You talk about a massacre. That was a shit show for the good guys.
Oh yeah.
Man.
You know, you ended up having people like Boba Fett become a good guy in those you and Vong
Yeah.
stories. But if you wanted to really do a good freaking adaptation where things go fucking sideways, adapt the Dark Horse Comics Dark Empire. And that's legitimate. Like, Luke turns to the dark side
he
and
sure
then eventually
does.
comes
Yeah,
back.
sure does.
And then Palpatine comes back as a clone, and it's all wazoo bullshit, but it's good.
Look, I gotta get out of here, guys.
All right, we're gonna close out anyway. You want to give your final thoughts before you go?
Yeah. Yeah, I get final thoughts. Final thoughts. I apologize to George Lucas for what Disney did to your franchise. I shouldn't apologize to him because you sold it to him. Asshole. But anyway, we love you, George. Hopefully Kathleen Kennedy actually does step away and they actually get some actual creative people to come in and write a good story first. Have the cool fight scenes, yes. Like this whole thing with the Acolyte, that stupid show. What the problem with it weren't the fight scenes. You had some cool fight scenes. There was some cool things there, but your story was shit. And people want a good story above all else. Add the cool fight scenes to a good story. That's all we need. That's my 2 cents on it.
All right, my man. Thank you so much.
And the Acolyte was boring too, by the way. That's the ultimate sin. I was bored. And you threw in a couple like a good. They ruined it. They threw in a really good fight scene, right? Well, this one guy shows up and just slaughters Jedi Knights, right? And then right back to the stupid shit in the same episode. I was like, oh, you had this triumphant moment and then you ruined it with this. All right, y'all take it easy. Thanks for having me.
All right,
Good to see you again, Angry Elf.
See ya, dude.
I'm hearing from you, man.
Later.
All right, before we close out tonight, bro, I want to know your opinion on something. The last movie, Rise of Skywalker, the end of the scene, the fighting scene. What you think about that?
You mean Rise of Palpatine?
Yeah, technically that's what it should have been called.
No, absolutely not. It was a trash movie from start to finish. That's all I'm gonna say. Trash
You didn't
movie.
even like the fight scene in the end?
No, nope. I didn't like that movie. Period.
All right, we have a comment here. I want Robert. What do you think about this comment? The outline was great. I love the letter of the Ben trilogy.
No, I won't give that a freaking no. The Acolyte series, and it has nothing to do what was on screen. It has everything to do with Leslie Headland. Leslie Headland was a freaking the assistant to Harvey Weinstein, and Harvey Weinstein, we all know, was a freaking trash person. And if you think that Leslie Headland didn't know what was going on with Harvey Weinstein, you're blind. You need to go see your eye doctor tomorrow. Like, first thing. Leslie Headland was a trash person. Harvey Weinstein was a garbage person. End of story. Acolyte should have never been made. End of story. I have not watched one iota of the Acolyte, and you can't convince me to. End of
So
story.
here's what I'm gonna push back a little, Rob. For the average Joe, not like me and
Mhm.
you are hardcore fans. For the average Joe,
Right.
it probably was a decent series. I watched it. I didn't think it was bad. I didn't think it was great either. It had,
Mhm.
I watched the first time, like, and after I thought about it, I go like, yeah, it could have done better. But each body has their own opinion about
I
something. Let's be honest here.
sure. I'll give you anybody an opinion of it. They can have their opinion of it. I'm not gonna tell you this, that, the other thing. I'm just saying, based off of who produced it, I'm not gonna touch it with a 10-foot pole.
You hate that person that much?
It's a trip. Oh God, yes. I I I think Harvey Weinstein he's the devil personified. And Leslie Headland is an acolyte, pun intended, of the devil. God, yes, I do hate that woman that much.
I can see that. All right, let's close out. David, you want to go first? Rob, you go next.
I'll just say very simple.
Oh,
Hearing from Paul Bennett, hearing from Angry Elf and Mandrell, they really fucked up the Star Wars franchise, really did. And I hate Paul Bennett. He could have got
what
way more
happened?
money off that. But I stopped watching after 2012. I stay away from the Star Wars franchise for a reason because just like you have mentioned, I can't deal with too many chefs in the kitchen, giving too many different flavor of the same food, and you want me to throw up on food poisoning. No, thank you. So when I heard that part, have a director direct a different director for each movie of the same franchise, like serious, right? You kidding me, right? They were American creative that gone to shit. I don't know what to tell you. But other than that, stay away from my Chinese movies. Stay away from my Japanese movies. Stay away from my South Korean movies. Don't touch it. Not even anime. Stay away from either. If you do, we have a problem. That's my final thought.
Hello. You know, here's my opinion. I like a lot of the Jedi Survivor games. You know, the Obi-Wan series was for the most part decent, especially the fights scenes. But I'm I'm a lot of the opinion of, especially the end of Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi. You know, Yoda and Obi-Wan are the last two survivors. What happened to Ahsoka? Obviously, Ahsoka survived. But and I can deal with it. She was no longer a Jedi. But yeah, my opinion is the survivors from Order 66 were Obi-Wan and Yoda. That's me. Beyond that, everybody else either lost touch with the Force or died.
So, before we go, there's one comment who came in, a weird take. This is everybody's personal opinion. I mean, you may disagree, may agree. That's okay. But if it's your first time on the channel, please feel prescribe. You got my some things. I also have two things really fast before I go to the schedule. I feel they went the wrong way with Star Wars. I don't think Disney should ever bought Star Wars. That's my person. I think Disney is pretty much George sold his soul to the demon when he did that for a very cheap price.
Yeah.
So, but I said, as I'm always doing things in the background, guys. I'm always working on something. So next week's episode, this goes well. What just happened at WWE's Elimination Chamber, and I announce John Cena actually turned heel for the first time. That's the look I was waiting for you, Rob. I know it. Yes, he turned heel. I wish I could play the video. I don't want to get copy fucking strike. YouTube policies. But we'll be definitely be talking about next week. So the schedule for this week, we'll be doing tomorrow on the gray area. Me and Paul will be speaking about relationships between the United States versus Greece type of relationship. They're different when you live overseas and stuff like that. Second, we will be talking about on Thursday. I mean, Wally and Dave will be talking about Battle of the Planets. They're breaking it down and they're going to destroy it. Now, on Thursday, we'll be back with me. Our relationship is a lot of work. Yeah. We're going to go there. And next week, we're going WWE catchphrases. The world that finished building a legend. Go ahead, Rob. What do you guys say?
What's cooking? Can you smell what the Rock is cooking? That's all I got to say.
I'm looking forward to it. Like always. And on the 16th, we have a special guest. Thanks to CQ. He's going to be on CQ's Pop Culture Warrior, Dwayne White. And he's going to be here on the 16th on the gray area. Go look up his material, guys. He is a stand-up comedian. He's doing his first live coming around the corner. I got to find out where he's doing his live. I'm not sure yet. And so, hey, Lost, what's going on? So
I think it's Netflix.
Is it Netflix?
Wait, you said Greg White?
No, Dwayne White.
Dwayne.
Yeah. He is a veteran / turned into a comedian. I am actually looking forward to having that conversation with that guy. I wonder how the hell you became a service guy into a comedian. But again, I have CQ who's half a comedian, so I'm not surprised. Half comedian, not full comedian. He's gonna probably give me shit for that one, right, Rob?
Oh yeah, absolutely. He's going to be on CQ's Pop Culture Warrior on Tuesday
that's
night.
what I said. So check out Pop Culture Warrior. He's Dwayne White. He's going to be a guest there. I was trying to book him before CQ did. We're going to find it.
Oh, you can you know what? Here's the thing: you can't beat CQ. He's 12 steps ahead.
Yeah, I know he can't. He came to the contact. He came to the information. He hooked me up with it. So
Yeah.
Like I like he was trying to book him. This happened really fast. Everything like so. I thought I got him before it. I was like, oh, we're gonna be the first show. Yeah, I'm excited. I talked to him today. Goes, oh yeah, but I was on Tuesday. I'm like, motherfucker. But I love Siki. He's my best friend. I'm just breaking his balls. All right, guys, let's get the hell out of here. David, last comment. Rob,
God damn, I love the show. I love coming on here.
you're always welcome, dude. This is your second home from away from home. From your first home was pop culture. I'm gonna take you and have you here permanently. I have something to tell you after the show that might interest your
Yes.
little mind. So just the pipe. Except that, guys, this was once again Spartan SQ Network. I am Ghost of Sparta. He is Black David. He is Angry Elf. As always, stay fresh, stay safe, and I'll see you guys in the next one.